Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tanitra. Coming up on today's show, is Ryan Nielsen the real deal? I'm happy about what I saw with the Atlanta Braves, and it has absolutely nothing to do with scoring runs. And last but not least, and for the culture, will the Falcons regret drafting Bijan Robinson? It's all next. ATL Day Ones. Let's go.
This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
I want to start off by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that from you in advance. ATL Day Ones is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode of ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. And coming up in 10 minutes, were the Braves actually getting back on track, or were they just playing the Mets? We'll talk about that. But first, we have to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. And plus, as you can see right now, that is not Tanitra Batiste. I know you guys are like, okay, who is that? That's not Tanitra. But, you know, I do got a nice fill-in. My main man, Randy McMichael, former Georgia Bulldog. No, he is a Georgia Bulldog. Former Miami Dolphin, NFL vet, you know, in the game with the Miami Dolphins. And I think it's kind of fitting that we have you on here today, Randy, because, you know, the Falcons played the Miami Dolphins on Friday night. And when you think about, once we found out, you know, that the starters weren't going to play on both sides, I think my mind started to change. I don't know about you. My mind started to shift a little bit. Okay, like, all right, now who's going to play and who should I have my eye on when it comes to, and also started looking at the defense overall, because we know Ryan Nielsen was brought in. We heard he was going to be aggressive. He's going to be sending guys from different levels. And we heard that the cornerbacks have been looking really good in practices and other stuff like that. So I just think from a scheme standpoint, I was going to start looking at that standpoint. But for you, after seeing what happened last night, 5 sacks, they had the interception earlier on, and the strip sack by Arnold Ebiketie in the fourth quarter, do you feel like this Ryan Nielsen hire has been justified, or I'm going a little bit too far so far?
Well, the thing with it is, like, I kind of figured probably because they did the 2 practices in Miami that the starters probably weren't going to play. I just didn't have that feeling, and I thought if Desmond Ridder was going to play, then the starting offensive line was going to play. If they weren't going to play, they're not going to put him behind that number 2 offensive line, as we saw throughout the league, throughout the preseason. Number 2 offensive line stink. They stink.
Yes.
Yeah, they stink.
Yes.
And so you didn't want to.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't want to put your quarterback behind that. But I think the one thing that you saw, even though you didn't get a chance to see the main guys on defense, you saw guys like you said, like AK, who, I mean, at the beginning of the game, he looked a little lost in the run game to me, but you just saw him keep coming and pass rushing, doing the things that the Falcons need him to do, Jarvis. And you know this better than anybody. Like the one thing that you used to always talk about when Vic Beasley was here was having that secondary move.
Yes, sir.
He can rush upfield, but that's inside spin move. That's his second move, and it was a thing of beauty. So I look at the scheme as a whole, even though it was backup guys, they always put on the team goals, no matter who's out there for defense. You know what I mean? They had a little bend but don't break type situation. But for them to have the 2 turnovers and also, you know, being able to make plays on the back, and I thought that was a positive. Now, am I ready to say that Ryan Nielsen is the answer to the Falcons' defensive woes for these last couple of years? I ain't ready to go there, but I'm excited to see, you know, how his scheme works with the regular guys that are not hopefully, Arthur Smith said today that they're probably going to play Friday against Cincinnati.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. I'm looking forward to that because, like in some conversations I've had with Grady Jarrett and Davey Onyemata, man, I was like, just to be able to have somebody that you know what they bring to the table, it is just can open up so much just from availability, right? When I say availability, like I ain't got to worry about getting double team on this particular play, or hey, if I'm in this one technique, I might not get touched by more than 2 people. You know what I'm saying? So because they have to worry about the man on the other side and that 3 on that side of things. But I think that, you know, Arnold Ebiketie is something that I feel like he's a guy, Mac, and you can kind of tell me if you agree with this or not. I think that he's a guy that he needs that confidence,
Right.
that knowing that he can do it. Because I'm sitting up here like, like guys tend to go that outside route, as much as they possibly can, try to speed rush. And I'm like, dude, you wait till the fourth quarter to use your inside, finally go inside.
Set it up. Set it up.
Hey man, look, I look at it like this, man. Like preseason is the time of year to work on all your moves, work all of them, throw all of them out there just to see how you feel with them, how guys are receptive to it. And then you can go back and look at film and say, you know what? All right, that kind of worked a little bit, and all I had to do was kind of do this, and you kind of tweak certain things. I think there are teachable moments when it comes to preseason. I know a lot of people don't really care about preseason, but when you look at it from that standpoint, I just think it's something that you can kind of just focus in on when you put it on tape. Once you put it on tape, hey, you can talk about it, you can make adjustments, but if you don't put it on tape, or you wait till the fourth quarter, it's just like, all right, okay, maybe I should have used this move a little bit earlier, but I think Arnold Ebiketie is definitely a guy that I feel like that second year is going to be some pressure, I feel like, to start to come kind of bubble up in it going into his second year.
Well, I think the thing with it is that last year, him being drafted in the second round, which with a very high pick in the second round, because, that was all the buzz around, this year's draft. They needed pass rushing, And then I kept coming back with, hell, they just drafted 2 pass rushers last year. Can they have a chance to develop? Now, Arnold's going to be counted on. I saw today at practice, I'm assuming that this is the starting front four with Calais, David, Grady, and Bud Dupree. But, Bud doesn't rush a passer like he used to. Arnold's going to have a lot of opportunities to rush passers and everything like that. But like you said, it's just one of those things where he just got to continue to keep working at his craft. And, this Jarvis, by playing the position of defensive line, it's a craft to be a defensive line. It's a craft to be a pass rusher. It's just not something that you wake up and do. I had this conversation with an old teammate of mine a long time ago, Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. He said, I was born to rush a passer. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that's embedded in you. Now, you got to work on it. But he was always told me, he said, I was born to rush the passer. And so
that's a hell of a statement to make, right?
He did. He's a Hall of Famer. So,
right, exactly.
I was born to do it. And
exactly.
I love that part about it. But, there's so much they got to do. But the excitement is that you feel like you were just talking about, like, just go out and just pick great 97. 97, he can't be having more fun than he's having right now because he got dudes. Not saying that the dudes weren't good. They just weren't as good as these guys he got around him now. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing about seeing Grady be able to not be the guy. Now, no doubt, don't get me wrong. Grady is going to be the red circle on offensive boards in the meeting room. They're going to
the number's going to be red. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to circle 97. We got to block this guy.
Circle it.
All right, this guy can wreck the whole game. But now he has guys that are just as effective. I don't think any of these guys are as good as Grady, but David is a very good football player. And he's a guy that can make and keep offensive lines and offenses. How many times did we see 3 bodies on Grady? You won't see that no more this year because these other guys can capitalize off of those moves.
And last thing before we move on, I think I want to ask you about, Michael Walker was released on Sunday, and I think a lot of people kind of like take this thing in perspective, and I want to get your opinion on it because a lot of people saying, oh, well, good riddance and all that stuff, but do you think this is necessarily an indictment on him and what he brought to the table as a player, or if this is like, hey, this is the regime, they got their guys in, and they're trying to, make sure the guys that they brought in to play that linebacker spot, make sure they get as much reps as possible? Well,
when they brought in Ellis, his days were numbered. You knew his now. He's familiar with the defensive coordinator and all those different things. My thing with the whole situation was, to me, and I could be completely wrong, it was one of those things where they let him know, I know you've been our starter here, but, we're going to go in a different direction. You're going to play teams now. You might get in like short yards, goal line package and stuff like that at the linebacker position. But for the most part, these 2 guys are our guys. And it's something that they let him know, let his agent know that we're going to, go this direction. And he maybe ask him to be waived. I don't know. But, in situations like that, that's the first thing came to mind because I don't think that he was bad enough football player for them to just waive him right now in camp. You know what I mean? That would have been something that maybe waited, or they want to get a look at some of these other young linebackers and just want to give him an opportunity to get a fresh start somewhere. And so that's what I think it was. But again, I could be wrong, but I've seen situations like this where, we want to get our young guys a look. It's not an indictment on you, but these 2 dudes in front of you are going to be our guys. So let's see if we can find somebody else to maybe be that third linebacker in our big packages and everything like that.
I'm with you because here's the thing, like he was the only starting capable guy that was out there. So I feel like, hey, you put something on tape that you can work with, and going forward, I really feel like there's gonna be something that, you know, they kind of, hey, these are our guys, and we're gonna give you some time, give you a chance to put something on tape, and then, you know, try to catch on somewhere and move forward.
Right. I mean, because it makes sense to me. But like I said, I don't think Michael was bad enough last season, and I don't know if Caden Ellis and Anderson were that far ahead of him that you just release him. I just think it was one of those things where he let him know what it was, and he and his agent came and probably asked the Falcons for his release. That's just what I think.
I'm wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. Gotta let you know that this episode of ATL Day One is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Football season is about to kick off, and guess what, guys? FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long, because right now, when you get a bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Yes, every time. Every time they win in the regular season, you're going to be able to get bonus bets. And guess what you can use those bonus bets for? You can bet on the spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Because, guys, if you're doubling down on the Atlanta Falcons, yes, the over-under, all of that stuff, 8.5 right now. So, yeah, you can use those bonus bets every time those guys, you pick them to win the Super Bowl, you can get some bonus bets to go bet on some player props, or you can bet on the spreads. You can do all of that. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. LOCKEDON. FanDuel is the official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. It is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tanitra. That's not Tanitra. That's Randy McMichael. You see right there, or you hear the voice of Randy McMichael that you're hearing right now. He is the former Miami Dolphin, 10-year NFL vet, and of course, you see it in the background for those of you who are watching right now, Georgia Bulldog, you know, going for 3 straight in a row. We're going to talk about some Georgia Bulldogs in just a second.
All right.
But first, Randy, got to talk about the Atlanta Braves. They win the series against the New York Mutts, or as John Chuck would like to refer to them as, the New York Mutts. It's so funny about that. I love that nickname, man.
He's been such a bad influence on you, like me.
I know, man. Like he just kind of bleeds like that pessimism. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, gotta love it though. But when they win the series 3-1 against the New York Mets, and one of the things that I feel like there was kind of overall that I took away from the series, not the 21-run score. Yeah, because we know, hey, we understand what the Braves can do when they're swinging the bats all right. Because up and down that lineup is absolutely ridiculous when you think about going 1 through 9 and having to deal with those cats. Right. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, Randy, is the fact that Spencer Strider was 7 innings. You know, he had only 6 strikeouts, but I think I was actually, Tanisha and I had kind of talked about this before, was the fact that, you know, a lot of times when you're getting these double-digit strikeouts, everything, that means a lot of times you're going deep in the counts, especially when you got guys fouling the ball off and all that stuff because they're trying to catch up to that fastball, that heater that he's throwing, 99 miles per hour and all that stuff, and you can kind of really get into a lot of pitches, but I think he kind of switched it up just a little bit by, you know, hey, having those one-pitch at-bats, like, hey, guy popping up or, you know, grounding out and everything like that, and I think that's something that I feel like Spencer try to focus in on as the season starts to wind down. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you this, Jarvis. When I saw him going back out for the 7th, I just automatically just assumed, just like this is like the last 2 starts when he went out, when he's going into the 7th, you know, because he's had trouble once he's gone past the 6th inning, you know. But I was glad Schmidt kind of put him back out there. Like you said, he was more in control and without the strikeouts, like you said, because a lot of those are those 2-3 counts, 2-2 counts, but the ball's being fouled off, and everything like that. So it was good to see him go back out there because, you know, he's one of those guys along with Max Fried, that when the other guys in the rotation stink, they can't afford to stink, And so the last start, Max Fried, who was going tonight versus the Yankees, he stunk his last outing. But not necessarily stunk, Jarvis. He had one bad inning. And I think that's the thing.
A little shaky,
with Spencer, it's been the same thing. One bad inning is usually in the sixth. It's been just a bad inning. Not a bad game, but a bad inning, and it usually gets out of control. And so for him to go in there and just be settled and go in there and be able to just, handle the sixth, go all the way to the seventh, I thought that was big. But more importantly, I thought with Snick just like, I know he's had a bad 2 of the last 3 starts, but you know what? I'm going to put him back out there anyways. And he went ahead and he prevailed in those 7 innings.
Yeah, and that was one of the things but like you talking about, speaking of one bad inning, you got Charlie Morton on the other hand too, like all those walks, man, and just the control issues that he's been having. It's just like, man, is Uncle Charlie kind of wearing down on us in front of our eyes. And to be honest with you, we kind of seen this like as we roll down towards the end of the season, whether it be ending the season with an injury or dealing with some ailments or something like that, and just not being able to get himself together. And I think that was something that was a little concerning, but unfortunately, they were playing against the New York Mets. But that brings me to my question. Do you think this was kind of like the Braves getting back on track, or this is like, hey, they're playing against the sorry behind Mets, and it kind of is what it is?
Well, hopefully it is something to get you back on track. I mean, they should have won all 4 games, but Yanni, of course, he had to go out there and stink it up like he always does. But
stinky. Just stinky.
but I mean, I think it was fun. I laughed so much, especially Saturday when they just beat the hell out of the daggone Mets. It was just so fun and everything like that. And I mean, they are, don't get me wrong, they're head and shoulders better than the Mets. I think they're better than the damn Pirates, who just gave them all they wanted too.
Of course.
So I just look at it as, what, and you can just kind of tell the Mets are ready. They're ready for the season to be over so bad. Their players are. You can just tell by all those things. But I'm always going to look at it in a positive way and say they needed it. Because, I mean, that was a hard-fought series. I mean, 2-2 tie against the Pirates, long road trip and things like that. And they just need to get out of there with something. And for them to beat up on the Mets the way they did, hopefully it worked out. Again, we got the other New York team in town for a series this week, and hopefully it can carry over because there's another New York team talking about. So,
yeah, I think that definitely coming into this, like definitely looking for Max Fried to kind of, get it right. Like I want to see some balance, right? Like his first outing, 6 innings was absolutely perfect. Beautiful. And I was like, then you came in, he had the one bad inning. I just want to bounce it out. He don't have to be perfect. Like, just balance that bad boy out, be the ace of the staff because, hey, man, this is mid-August, man. These playoffs are coming up pretty soon. They'll be here before you know it. So I just want to see some balance, between what we're used to seeing from Max Fried and not necessarily start looking like the stock market going up and all down. And
right.
Another thing, though, that really stood out to me, Matt, was the fact that this dude, Nicky Lopez,
man.
This dude went 4 for 6 on Saturday, and just was just tearing the ball up. Then he went in and pitched at the end of the game to on Saturday as well. Like, is this another one of Alex Anthopoulos'? He went 4 for 6, 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and he scored 3 runs in that first game of the twin bill, so to speak. Do you think this is another one of Alex Anthopoulos' like moves? Like, hey, I got me another one.
You know what? I don't know. He was outstanding, and for him to go in and pitch was great. I saw earlier today he's starting today. They're gonna let Ozzie rest because he did leave last night with some cramping in his
hamstring.
Yeah. So he's going to be out. So he's going to be starting for Ozzie today at second probably. And it's just great when you can have a utility guy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go like that every time he's in a game. But, I mean, what an opportunity when you get a chance, to give Arcia the first game off and to be a part of that, getting his first hit as a Brave and doing all those different things. It was amazing. And hopefully he can continue it and everything because it does seem like every time when Alex fills in with a position player, he just hits it right on the head. And I don't know if it's, and a lot of times I can't say it's because you're playing with a better team. You're playing with a better roster, playing with better hitters around you, and you're going to get pitches. I don't think that's the biggest thing about him. He's going to get pitches to hit. And I thought that him having an opportunity to go out there and just fill in for Arcia, because it's getting to the point of the season where you want to start giving some guys some rest and everything, especially guys like Ozzie, who's played every single game, Ronnie, who plays every single game, Matt Olson, who plays every single game, Austin Riley. You want to try and get these guys a day or so, but it's hard because they want to play. These guys enjoy playing baseball. So
especially Ronnie.
But I thought it was great for him to get out there and have fun and everything. And again, it was against the Mets, so that made it even better.
Yeah, man. He's like, as much as like you talk about that New York team, I'm not going to say their name. I'm just going to say the other New York team.
Right.
I don't like them. I just don't like them. I hate them. Kevin Seitzer, all them. I can't stand them mofos. Like, so yeah, I don't say their names on this show, and I'm glad that you didn't say it as well. So I appreciate that from you, my brother. All right, but coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk about whether or not the Falcons made a mistake by drafting Bijan over number 88. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to say thank you guys to all our everydayers. You guys have been rocking with us Monday through Friday. We appreciate you guys. Hey, if you're an everydayer, go ahead and drop it in that comment box. I'm an everydayer, Jarvis. I really appreciate you. When Tanisha coming back? Yeah, I got you, man. She's coming back. She'll be back next week. We got a nice little roster of people that are going to fill in. And we got my main man, Randy McMichael, filling in today. But Randy, this is For the Culture. It is the intersection between sports, entertainment, the culture, and sometimes whatever the hell we want to talk about, because that's just how we get down on the show. Today is no different. Now, just talked about, how Big John Ross has been doing his thing. Mac, I got a chance to, rap with him when I went out there to training camp. I totally get why people are falling in love with this dude. However, leading up to the draft,
right,
I was all in on number 88. I ain't talking about Michael Irvin. I'm talking about doggone Jalen Carter.
Right.
And Mac, the man got all of 2 snaps, and everybody out here losing their minds. Do you feel like Jalen Carter is going to have one of those type seasons as a rookie? Do you feel like he's on the precipice or something like that?
I think, yeah, I do. Because the thing about it is,
I'm with you, man.
One of those guys who looks at, and I don't want to take a stab because I haven't seen Bijan, and I think Bijan's going to be really good. I do.
Me too.
When you look at Jalen, that was funny. He was going against Ben Cleveland, former dog.
Yeah, right, exactly. Of all people.
And he just, he whipped him. Off the ball, his quickness, hand swipe, all those different things, man. The dude is just an awesome player, and he's in the right kind of scheme. He's not going to have to come in and be a starter day one, but he's going to play a lot because, you're going to give Jarvis and you're going to give Fletch some rest, and he's going to go in there and he's going to fill that void that left by Hargrove, who went to San Francisco. I'm not saying he's Hargrove yet, but Jalen's going to be outstanding. That's going to be an outstanding defensive front for them. But yeah, I don't want to say it was a mistake because I haven't seen Bijan yet. But I just have this feeling that Bijan is going to be so good for this team. And like you said, he's one of those dudes, when you meet him, you automatically just like, damn, I like this kid. I like this young man. He is that's how you feel about him. You really just like him. And then for him to be as good of a football player as he is, to me, it just seemed like it's going to be a special matchup. But yeah, I love Jalen Carter and everything. But I can't say that I regret it or the Falcons should regret it. I'm not going to say that because I still have not seen Bijan play. And I haven't seen Jarvis. I'm sorry. And I haven't seen, him play that much anyways. I haven't seen him, as far as, you watch him. I'm talking about Bijan. You watch him out of practice, it looks effortless. It looks effortless. It does.
Smooth as a smooth as a baby's bottom, man.
It does. Jalen Carter, what I saw on Saturday, it looked like Jalen Carter. Everything I expect of him. So it's gonna be just gonna be one of those things where we just keep a watchful eye on it and visit at the end of the year, I guess.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm with you, but I think for me, the reason why I kind of even posed the question, because me, I'm being a little petty.
You are.
I get down. So
you are.
Yeah. That's kind of how I get down. But
right.
I saw so much of Jalen. And I was one of the people that, I'm pretty sure I wasn't by myself. When Jordan Davis was still on the team,
yes,
and Trayvon Walker, all those cats were on the team. Devontae Wyatt, all those cats on the team. I was just like, the best player on this roster is number 88.
I think a lot of people thought that. And I think a lot of people, Jarvis,
I'm telling you, man.
You remember when Jalen jumped on the scene, was on that short yardage goal line play. You remember he took out those 2 people there? That's what everybody talked about. But I'm like, no. Oh, that's awesome. Watch him play defensive line.
Oh my God, man.
Watch him play defensive line. And he was just, like you said, there were 3 first-rounders on that defensive line, and he was better than all 3 of them. You know, that's the impact that this kid has, man. And my biggest thing with him, weight and motor. And I don't think that's going to be an issue for
He's
either.
looking lean, Matt. He's looking lean as hell, boy.
Good. He looks good. I don't think there should be any motivation issue. And there wasn't no motivation issues with him at Georgia. I think that was one of those things that came out. He was
called precautions.
He was banged up, knee, ankle, and then you saw once he got that knee brace off what he started doing.
It just makes so much sense that he's doing what he's doing now, and like not just in the preseason game. People are talking about him in practice.
Yes.
Like Jason Kelsey is like, oh yeah, we got to come up with a plan to block this cat.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if Jason Kelsey is saying something like that, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, like I will say that for the Philadelphia Eagles. So yeah, when you have a guy of that ilk talking about a rookie like that means that lets you know that it's something there. And last one before we get out of here, Mac, I gotta talk about this. You know, like now I was kind of. It took me a while to get on the Stetson Bennett train.
Right.
But you know, the man, he went out there and did his thing too, man. The man threw for 191. He's slinging that Tate out there, LA. I'm not saying he's gonna be the starter, but let me ask you this. Do you see him? How many games do you see him starting this year with Matthew Stafford as the starter now?
Dude, I can see maybe 4. Because he's going to be the immediate backup to Staff.
Yeah.
The thing with Staff is Staff.
That's the word coming out of LA. Yeah. People think he's going to be the backup quarterback.
The thing with Staff is as long as Staff's healthy, he's going to be fine. But Staff's body's so banged up, man. After all those years in Detroit, getting the crap kicked out of him, then
just
coming to LA and just get beat up, man. Staff's on his last legs and everything. 4 games. It was fun to get out there and watch him play and sling the ball around, doing Stetson stuff, you know, almost an interception a couple times, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's how he rolled.
That's how I roll. That's basically what he does, Jay. Hey, this is how I roll, man. I'm still going to think I can make every single throw. And, you know, and I think that the biggest thing with Stetson is, you know, just happy for him. And it's going to be a movie about this journey that he's on that it's not even done being written yet, because I'm not saying that he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but I didn't think he was going to win 2 damn national championships either. You know, so I think that one thing I'm not going to do is count that dude out, man. I mean, he is proving people wrong, myself included, wrong time and time again. And he's just one of those things. And Kirby calls it, he's a gamer. He's a gamer.
Yeah,
when the lights are the brightest.
True definition of it.
This dude comes to play, man. And he's not the biggest thing about him. He's not scared to make mistakes. He's not. Yeah. He's not scared to make a mistake. He has a short-term memory. And so, but yeah, it was fun to watch him play this weekend. And yeah, it remains to be seen. But I think if Staff is healthy, they'll be fine. But as bad as that damn line is, ain't no telling how big a beating that Matt Stafford's gonna take this year.
Yeah, they did take their first pick. You know, they had a first round pick in like 12 years.
And they won't have
with their second round pick. Right. Yeah. With their second round pick though, they did take Steve Avila, the big boy out of TCU. So and then there's some good rumblings about him coming out of LA as well. So hopefully they can help keep him upright. But like you said, I'm with you. If Stetson Bennett gets a chance to play, man, don't be surprised if that dude go out here and do his doggone thing, man. Well, and we also thank you guys for rocking with us and doing that doggone thing by downloading our podcast wherever you can get it. And also checking us out on YouTube. And also got to thank my main man, Randy Mack, man. Appreciate you for filling in today, man.
Yeah, fam. You know I got you, brother, man. All love, man. Y'all be good, man.
Yes. That is Randy McMichael, Georgia Bulldog, former NFL tight end. Make sure you guys check us out tomorrow. Well, we'll have another guest filling in for Tanisha Batiste. And last but not least, before we got it, if you don't do anything else in life, make sure you will share love, show love, and most importantly, spread love.